We're just trying to make awareness of a lot of women being missing these days, you know.
I understand.
I know you've been seeing that.
Oh, yeah, it's crazy.
You got a wife, you got kids, and you got people out here just snatching them up.
Well, you guys are doing a wonderful job, man. I appreciate all y'all's help.
Shalom, Israel, Most High in Christ, blessed Captain Palu with Israel United in Christ. What we out here doing today, we out here in the neighborhoods trying to find our people, all right? What you see above us is the missing people flyer. In our neighborhoods, in Oklahoma by itself, it's 121 reported cases of people that's being taken for sex trafficking. So there's no news about it on the internet. There's no way to find out. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna take matters in our own hands to make sure that we're going into the neighborhoods and searching for our people, all right? So that's what we're doing. We out here campaigning for the missing people campaign to make sure that we put in our brick in our community so we can bring our people home, all right? Most of the people that's being taken is blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans in our communities. So we must do something about it. And I challenge you to do something about it as well, all right? Shalom, Most High in Christ bless.
Israel.
Check. Israel United in Christ. We are not a hate group. We are not affiliated with any other Israelite group. Israel United in Christ is a nonviolent, Bible-based movement. We do not advocate or condone any acts of violence against any race, ethnicity, or gender. We advise that if anyone hears or knows of any plots to cause harm to anyone or to break the laws of the land, you must contact the proper authorities to bring awareness to any possible threat, as stated in Leviticus chapter 5, verse 1.
Hey, shalom, shalom, Israel. Hey, Most High in Christ, bless everybody. Welcome to another edition of Precept Upon Precept. I am your host, Captain Sherman, to my left.
Officer Matthew.
To the far left.
Officer Mikael.
And to the right.
Officer Micah.
We have a great show for you tonight. Do me a favor real quick before we go to the Watchman Report. Steph, can you post from Telegram tonight's, Officer Mikael made a nice graphic image. All praises. So tonight, oftentimes we hear about the black history they want us to know about. Rosa Parks, Harriet Tubman, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr., Marcus Garvey. But there are so many more prominent figures who are heroes and who escaped slavery and fought against oppression that we have never learned about. Tonight, we're going to visit 3 prominent figures who are heroes, who overcame the oppressors and escaped to freedom. Powerful, powerful stuff. They all saw that Officer Mikael's meme, or the all praises. So with that, we're going to take it away right to Officer Micah with the Watchman Report.
Shalom, Israel, Most High in Christ, blessed. Got my garment on tonight, all praises. All right, let's get right into it. Segue into what Cap just said. Malcolm X family released letter alleging FBI police role in his death. So, yeah, I guess they finally confirmed what we already knew. All right, next one, please. Black Walmart worker arrested after being stopped for walking in the snow in Texas. Our family been struggling down in Texas. Instead of giving the brother a ride home, they took him to jail. Next article, please. Illinois governor signed sweeping criminal justice overhaul, which said he signed the article. I read it. You can go back and read it. He has signed this article to protect the police officers who did those things to George Floyd. So he's protecting the cops, not the brothers out there paying taxes. All right, next article, please. More children migrants are arriving along the Spain's holiday island than ever before. So our people are fleeing from Africa into Spain. So we'll keep an eye on that. How Biden can strike a blow against Saudi Arabia's human rights violations. What it is, the men were protecting the women over there, and before, like the women were not allowed to get passports. There were a page in the husband's passport book in order to travel. So what he's doing now is he's attacking the men, saying that, hey, you're oppressing the women. That's how it starts. Next article, please. Oil spill in Israel. They were forced to close the beaches. More to follow on that. A lot of animals and stuff die. Y'all go back and read that for yourself. Next article, please. We're going kind of fast because there's a lot to get through. So bear with me, please. Thousands of service members saying no to COVID vaccination. So the soldiers, active duty, they're not taking it. They're refusing to take that shot. Wonder why. Deputies argue over whether to stop black man for jaywalking before fatally shooting him. This happened in California. So it's going to probably be some uproar about that. Next one, please. All you people that want to marry outside your race, you got to look forward to. Serena Williams' husband admits she taught him about washcloths. The devil didn't even know how to wash his behind. Next article, please. Where's the title? All right, family Navy vet died after police knelt on his neck. This happened in Arizona. This is Northern Kingdom. So Northern Kingdom and Southern Kingdom, we both oppressed together. Knelt on the brother's neck until he died. All right. Karen is mad. Update. Edmond Public School rep will not comment on teacher's discipline for allegedly calling student Black King's t-shirt racist. So the brother had a shirt on that said Black King, and they said he was racist. You can scroll up, just scroll a real bit, just get a picture of the shirt. What is racist about that right there? I guess if he had Caesar Bone there, they wouldn't have said nothing. And that concludes the Watchman Report.
So welcome back to Precept Upon Precept. We're going to jump right into the show. First, I want you to type in fugitive slave, because there's a term that Esau uses called fugitive slave. So we want to analyze the definition of a fugitive slave. So they're saying that if you're a slave, you could be a fugitive. Let's see if we can pull that up. It's actually the very first, if you go to Telegram, if you're actually in Telegram, which I don't think that the tech team has support from Officer Akiem, who left Steph by himself. Okay, well, what's going on? Anyways, I'll just read it myself. So the term fugitive slave from the Encyclopedia Britannica. It says fugitive slave, any individual who escaped from slavery in the period before and including American Civil War. In general, they fled to Canada or free states of the North to Florida. Bear with me. It says, from the very beginning of slavery in early America, enslaved people yearned to escape from their owners and flee to safety. We got it up? Okay. From Britannica. Okay. All right. So the whole point is, Israel, is you can't, if you're a slave that was stolen and you're now a property of somebody else, how can you be a fugitive if you're trying to escape to get the freedom that you once had before you were sold? And this is the point where it's absolutely amazing that they have these two words together. So if we could just scroll down. In the tech team's defense, apparently there is some ads which cause them to do this. All right. Let's see if we can read that.
Fugitive Slave, written by the editors of Encyclopedia Britannica. Encyclopedia Britannica's editors oversee subject area in which they have extensive knowledge, whether from years of experience.
Let's scroll down just a little bit. We're going to go to the article. There we go.
Fugitive slave. Any individual who escaped from slavery in the period before and including the American Civil War.
Up to the Civil War, which took place in the 1860s. Read on.
In general, they fled to Canada or to free states in the north through Florida from a time under Spanish control, which also a place of refuge.
So it's amazing because if you're seeking refuge, but yet they call you a fugitive. You're a fugitive trying to get refugee from being a slave, which you shouldn't have been in the first place. But I'm just starting with this for a reason. Read on.
See Black Seminoles.
Scroll down.
Olson Johnson, fugitive slave. Fugitive slaves flee from Maryland to Delaware by way of the Underground Railroad.
So I want to stop here and we're going to move on. What we find is from history, we all know about the Underground Railroad. And who gets the credit for all of that? We know it's Harriet Tubman. So her little brown behind is responsible for saving all of, that's the way that Esau would make it seem, right? This is one of the many, many ways that our people escaped, not just to Canada, but other parts of the United States, as they stated. So the Underground Railroad is one thing that the fugitive stage would go on. They would hide in root cellars, and they would make their way and wade in the water and all these different things till they got to a safe zone. Scroll down a little bit. I think, is that it? I believe that might be it. Okay, so I want to first start with the first brother. The first brother is named Robert Smalls. Y'all check this brother out, Robert Smalls. We're going to read first from the African Americans, Many Rivers to Cross. I believe it is the second article. Y'all need to look at this brother named Robert Smalls. We're going to read a couple of articles because most of us probably have never heard of Robert Smalls. And if you haven't, pay attention, and then I want you to share this after because he's a hero. This guy is a hero. All right, read.
Which slave sailed himself to freedom?
100 amazing facts about the Negro. All right, come on.
Just before dawn on May 13th, 1862.
3 years before Emancipation Proclamation, where were our forefathers? Servants and handmaids and doing things for the white man for no money. Read.
Robert Smalls and a crew composed of fellow slaves.
So the crew, they all worked together, which you're going to find out a little bit later about Robert Smalls. Read on.
In the absence of the white captain and his two mates.
Wow, they was probably drunk at the bottom of the deck, right? And read on.
Slipped a cotton streamer off the dock.
So they effectively commandeered a ship. Read on.
Picked up family members and a rendezvous point. Then slowly navigated their way through the harbor.
So what this is very a generalization. When we get to the detail and break this down, you're going to see the mastermind. This is one of the greatest. They should make a movie about Robert Smalls. Read on.
Smalls doubling as the captain.
Later on, remember, we're going to get to the point where it says he actually impersonates the captain. And the way he does it, y'all, I'm telling y'all, I don't. He is a real superhero. Read on.
Even donning the captain's wide-brimmed straw hat to help to hide his face. Responded with the proper coded signals at 2 Confederate checkpoints.
So in order to get to the north, you had to go through you had the Confederates were the Southerners, right? Before then you had the Northerners or what are they called? The Union, thank you. So in order to cross to the Union, did I say that right? The Union was the north, the Confederates the south, yes. There were garrisons and naval checkpoints that you could not you had to have flags. You couldn't just sail through anything. This brother went through 4 Confederate checkpoints as a black man, posing as a white man, picked up his family along the way, and made it all the way to the north. I'm telling you, this is the very beginning. Read on.
Including at Fort Sumter itself, and other defense positions. Cleared, Small sailed into the open seas. Once outside of Confederate waters, he had his crew raise a white flag and surrendered his ship to the blockading Union fleet.
What you're going to find is that what's heavy about this is that the crew that was with him were all slaves. Get me Ephesians, the 5th chapter. The crew, let me say this again, and that's what that brother looked like. The crew that was with Robert Smalls were all slaves that they agreed on one thing. The white man is the damn devil. We want freedom, and we're going to use whatever war tactics and strategies that we can use to get out of this. And they actually were able to get out of slavery by doing this. But let's read Ephesians chapter 5. Chapter 4, I apologize. Chapter 4. About there is one.
Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 4. There is one body.
One body.
And one spirit.
One spirit. That's all I want. These brothers here rolled in one spirit. They were all slaves. And he was the captain. And how the hell did he know how to move to garrisons and navigate? There wasn't no onboard motors. There wasn't GPS. You know why? Because as a slave, when he was riding the boat, he tracked everything. Our forefathers have a great and powerful understanding of how to do things even when they're not at the helm. He never got a chance to sail like a captain, but he knew how to move because he watched and he studied and he learned and he paid attention. Please.
A big reason that he was able to do that, remember, during their time, they couldn't read, they couldn't write. So everything that they learned, it had to be visual. So they had to learn by looking at you do something. So the recording in our memory, it's like, you know, the slave just sitting there. He looked like he downtrodden, but he's watching everything that everybody's doing. Okay, he's sinking like that to him. Okay, he turned the boat like that. He put the sail down at this point. Trouble came. They told me to do this. They told me to do that. All right, I'm going to remember everything. They had to rely on memory. That's why he was able to do stuff like that.
And that's the heavy point. As we go on, I don't even know. We have 3 great success stories, and we're going to spend some time on this brother. This brother here, listen, we need this. I don't know why he's not taught in elementary schools. This guy's a hero. Read on.
Hey, Cap, real quick.
Yes,
you said
sir.
you don't know why he's not taught in elementary schools?
Read.
He's not taught in elementary schools for the same reason that the young man got disciplined for wearing a shirt that said Black King. They want to keep us oppressed and downtrodden. They don't want us to know we had true black heroes.
That's right. That's a hell of a point.
They don't want the image of the black man taught. They'll teach us Rosa Parks. They'll teach you what's the name of the other sister? Harriet Tubman. This brother passed through a military garrison.
Listen,
Four checkpoints.
You're gonna like this, Mike, and you're gonna like this, Officer Matthew, because this is some. And I'm gonna use the term, street term. I ain't a street guy, but this is some gangster-ish that this. Watch this. I don't know how the hell Spike Lee and these cats ain't made a movie about this brother yet.
Hey, Cap.
Robert Smalls.
When you explain this, I want everybody watching to understand what mentality he had to be in. He disguised himself. For one, he feigned certain Confederate signals in order to get past. He probably spoke differently. He didn't use the same words that a slave would use or talk how a slave would talk. He used different words to mask who he was, much like the prophet Paul did. Paul, during the time of the Romans, had to go through the same checkpoints, the same garrisons. So when he was writing his letters, he did it in a way to where he couldn't get caught saying what he was saying.
Right, and then you got some dumb, stupid Israelites that say don't pay attention to Paul's letters and that he was caused confusion and that don't pay attention to his writings. Amazing. Read on. We all gonna take our time on this guy, but see, when we talk about heroes, we don't need to rush. I rushed through George Dumb Washington and friggin' Abraham Lincoln, but I want to take my time when it comes to a real hero. Let's read on.
In fewer than 4 hours, Robert Smalls had done something unimaginable. In the midst of the Civil War, this black male slave.
So hold up. The Civil War had started in, I believe, 1861. This was during the Civil War, and he was a slave. It's amazing. Let's just read on.
This black male slave had commandeered a heavily armed Confederate ship and delivered its 17 black passengers.
Now, hold up and check this out. How, well, look for example, in the U.S. Army, right? Can you just go into a tank battalion and take out a tank? Can you, even in a motor pool, harm people with a 50 cal on it, right? Can you just, you have to have certain understanding, and people have to allow you to do certain things before you can go in a motor pool or whatever the case may be, tank battalion, you know.
You got to
Yeah.
be in that company.
Hey, hey, just type in military destroyer and just bring up a picture. This is essentially what he stole. Like, well,
At that
commandeered.
time,
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, that's what he stole. Just type military destroyer. A Navy destroyer. It's something like that. I think it's military destroyer. It's a military destroyer. It'll pop right up. You can't.
And while we wait to get that, as we go through, you're going to find that this is why, if anybody can circulate this video, that knows anybody that makes movies or is a creator, please, man, make a movie about Robert Smalls. Make a movie about this guy.
Yeah, look. There you go, right
that's
there.
what he rolled out there right there.
Okay, go to IUIC Louisiana Facebook for all the content we're talking about. The whole purpose of this show is to spark y'all to continue to research great Israelites, okay? Yes, they might have been lost.
Hey,
Go ahead,
Cap.
Moses Michael.
Go ahead.
No, just he can click on either one. That's essentially what he rolled out in back then.
Wow.
And remember, they said once he got his way to the Union, they waved white flags so they wouldn't get shot down.
Yeah,
because he took a whole military
he
ship,
took a ship.
fully armed and loaded, and drove it to the Union and said, "Hey, we give up." And then once they see, who the hell is this driving? It's some Negroes.
Yeah, hold on.
Oh man, yeah. Hey, look, we had to escape.
Yeah.
Like, all right, now we got a ship.
Yep.
And we got some Negroes that's probably going to help us fight back.
There you go. They probably, can you imagine the look on their face when they saw him ride up and something like that right there?
Hey.
17 guns on it.
And this is the thing about it, right? So you'll show me a little black. Ron DMC wrote a rap. Harriet Tubman, she was a slave. She was a tiny black woman, but she was brave, right? They'll write a rap about this. How come Jay-Z and them cats ain't writing about Robert Smalls? Because Harriet, okay, she did her thing, right? But this brother right here, let's read on. I like to marinate. Read on.
Cap, Robert Smalls don't sell money.
Right. He don't make money
don't
for the
make
white
money.
man.
It make them look bad.
You're right. Absolutely. Especially down here. They probably got a target with this guy's face on it. This southern white man. Read.
Delivered its 17 black passengers, 9 men, 5 women, and 3 children from slavery to freedom.
So what we're going to find as we read other articles is he stopped along the coast, strategically planned, and picked up his family in between the war while going to checkpoints. Listen, this is such an example of a man of valor. The odds of him doing this and getting it were very, very small. But he did it because he was not afraid to die, and it was for a righteous reason. He wanted freedom. He wanted his family. He wasn't selfish because he probably could have get away with it easier if he didn't stop to pick up the women. Showing that the Israelite man cares about the Israelite woman. It wasn't white women he picked up. He picked up sisters along the way, right? Read on.
One story begins in the second full year of the war. It is May 12th, 1862, and the Union Navy has set up a blockade around much of the Atlantic and Gulf Coast. Inside it, the Confederates are dug in defending Charleston, South Carolina.
Because that was one of the key states. And if the Union got that from the Confederates, then they're inching closer down the coast, right? So read on.
And its coastal waters dense with island forts, including Sumter.
Fort Sumter. That's a key term. Remember that. Read on.
Where the first shots of the Civil War were fired exactly 1 year, 1 month.
Hence, 1861 is when it started. Read on.
Before. Attached to Brigadier General Roswell Ripley's command in the CSS Planter.
Let's scroll down a little bit. let's see here. Yeah, let's read a little bit about ammunition. I'm gonna tell you, we might just do the whole show on this one brother. Read.
After 2 weeks of supplying various island points, the planner returns to the Charleston docks by nightfall.
Why are we going here? Because we're going to show you. Look, Officer Micah pulled up the military warship. Let's see how this bad boy is armed in 1862, which is almost 150 years ago. This was the equivalent of a Navy destroyer, like Officer Micah had pointed out. Read on.
It is due to go out again the next morning, and so it's heavily armed, including approximately 200 rounds of ammunition.
Now, that ain't talking about a friggin' 9mm round. Rounds are talking about heavy-duty artillery. Read on.
A 32-pound pivot gun.
I don't know what the hell that is, but if it's got 32 pounds and it pivots, it sounds like it could do some damage. Read on.
A 24-pound howitzer.
I don't know what that is.
I know it has a 120 round. If he could just cut howitzer and put it up on there so you can see what this brother, a howitzer could probably shoot from here to Texas and hit where it's
So
going.
that's artillery.
That's a big gun.
Okay, so
Like a 90
this is
millimeter
the
round.
ship that he commandeered, picked up other slaves, got through 4 checkpoints. His wife made a white sheet, so when he knew he got to the safe side, he could say, "We're just a couple niggas. We're giving up the white flag. You can take your enemy's ship." Brilliant military strategy.
I would imagine that pivot gun is something similar to them anti-aircraft guns that they have on the side of the boats now.
They can rotate them.
That can rotate.
They call them miniguns today.
Okay.
As far as 7.6.
All praises.
That's a howitzer. See that big,
Wow.
the third one right there? But it's you can raise it up and down. That's the howitzer.
Wow.
That's a big gun.
So now we know that obviously the howitzers of today have more advanced, but during this time, that was the cutting edge, the 32-pound howitzer and the pivoting, like Officer Miko, that was the bleeding technology of the day. And there was a slave that stole your ship.
It rolled out.
Hey, bro, this is why, bro, they can't minimize this, man. This brother is powerful. Let's go back to the article.
A 24-pound howitzer
Mm-hmm.
and 4 other guns.
4 other guns.
Among them, one that has been dented in the original attack on Sumter. In between drop-offs, the 3 white officers on board, Captain C.J. Raylia and pilot Samuel H. Smith and engineer Zurich Pitcher, make the fateful decision to disembark for the night, either for a party or to visit family.
So they said, look, these niggas are too dumb. We ain't got to worry about them. Let's just park the boat. Let's go party. There's a couple 8 niggas, right? Not knowing that you stole the smartest people on the earth, the most powerful people on the earth. And this is what they slipped up. Read on.
Leaving the crew's 8 slave members behind. If caught, Captain Raylia could face court-martial.
Right, so you can't leave your possessions, your niggers, in a ship unmanned. That you can go to jail for that, right? Read on.
That's how much he trusts. He trusts them.
These are good old boys right here. My niggas will watch my stuff, shine my shoes, and fight for me if something happens. And I'm going to show you how powerful this brother is. Robert Smalls had these devils believing that he actually liked them. And that's what you got to do with your job. Make them believe that you actually like them. And the Bible tells you that they're your enemies. Robert Smalls knew who the hell these were. And by the way, when he went to the north, he knew those were his enemies too. But sometimes you got to play your hand to get to a better state. If it can get me out of slavery, and this brother rose all the way up to political office, as you're going to find out. All right, so showing you that he never trusted them, but he let them believe that, I got you, boss. Right, and that's how we had to move. Read on.
At the top of the list is Robert Smalls, a 22-year-old mulatto slave who's been sailing these waters since he was a teenager.
Now, there's one story that says his father was a slave master. I don't believe that. I do not believe that. And if it is, he still got a bunch of other brothers to freedom, so whatever. But right now, he Israel. I'm saying that right now. Read on.
Intelligent and resourceful, defiant with compassion, an expert navigator.
So here's the thing. Defiant with compassion, an expert navigator. Remember, he was a 22-year-old slave. To Officer Matthews' point, how does a 22-year-old slave understand how to navigate? Because we are naturally intelligent. We are naturally have strength and bravery and can learn better than anybody else. No one else could do this but an Israelite. Read on.
Defiant with compassion, an expert navigator with a family yearning to be free. According to 1883 Naval Committee report, Small serves as the ship's virtual pilot. Because only whites can rank, he is slotted as wheelman.
So he couldn't hold rank, but he still was doing the job, obviously, because for a slave to steal a warship with all these fancy guns, he's obviously he knows something. Read on.
Smalls not only acts the part, he looks it as well. He is often teased about his resemblance to Captain Relia. Is it his skin, his frame, or both? The true joke, though, is Smalls to spring for what none of the officers know.
Wait, stop. Real quick. Go back up to the picture. I can't stand when the Esau does this. This is why I don't believe he's a mulatto. I ain't saying that wrong with mulatto brothers, right? But the way that they're going to cast shade is that they make it, that's a, look at his face. Look at the texture of his hair. So right now he's Israel. Let's say we get proof that he's not Israel, but even so, he still freed a bunch of other Israelites. Scroll down, putting doubt in us.
Esau do that because they know our people. They judge based on appearance, and a lot of the mulattoes, they had black fathers and Indian mothers, or they had Benjamite fathers, and Native American, because Reuben and Gad was mixing among them, and at this time, Gad, some of them was what they call in New Orleans passe blanc. So they passed for white. So by their look, they would say, "Oh, he's a mulatto." But that don't mean that they was another nation. They just like to say stuff like that to throw us off, like you were saying.
Right, and the reality is that, and right, like I said, this brother's Israel. What he did is defied white America. Read on. Can we get to the background? Because I wanted to speed up. I want to speed up, but then I don't want to. We don't want to speed up.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Background. Smalls was born in April 5th, 1839.
Definitely in the thick of slavery. Read on.
Behind his owner's city house at 511 Prince Street in Beaumont, South Carolina. His mother, Lydia, served in the house but grew up in the fields, where at the age of 9, she was taken from her own family on the Seas Islands.
Okay.
It is not clear who Small's father was.
So now, because he did something great, they try to put doubt in you. Oh, he was a master. Oh, that's the reason why he was smart, because a white man birthed him. Even though they don't like, he's still a nigger. That's some slick stuff that they do. Look at the picture of the brother. He did no. This is BS, and they cast doubt on it, right? No. Scroll down. Go back right where you was at, because they say it's unclear. Now, he probably had a black father and a black mother, okay? Like also all Native American, dad could have been Gad, all right? Read on.
It is not clear who Small's father was. Some say it was his owner, John McKee.
Right, the white man will tell you that, because in the back of their mind, they don't want black greatness, so they can't stand you because if your father was white, your mother was black. But then they could say, well, the only reason why is because he had some white genes. That's what that bull crap. That's a bunch of BS. Play on. Read on.
Others, his son Henry. Still others, the plantation manager, Patrick Smalls. What is clear is that the McKee family favored Robert Smalls over the other slave children, so much so that his mother worried he would reach manhood without gasping the horrors of the institution into which he was born. To educate him, she arranged for him to be sent into the fields to work and watch slaves at the whipping post.
I see, you're going to learn. You don't want to get that. You better pay attention. And he learned how to bob and weave early. Read.
The results of this lesson led Robert to defiance, wrote great-granddaughter Helen Bower Moore and historian W. Marvin Donnelly. And he frequently found himself in the Beaumont jail. Beaufort jail. If anything, Small's mother planned mother's plan had worked too well. So the fearing for her son's safety.
Okay, so we're going to stop here. This article is a little intricate, but let's go back to there's another article, and that's really a deep read. Let's go to where it says American Battlefield Trust, Robert Smalls, and then I want you to get me a scripture. There's in the book of Samuel, because Solomon had a literal navy. Okay, so Solomon, the prophet Solomon, the King Solomon had a navy. And I'm going to find it real quick. Radio show. Oh, my gosh. Somebody say something.
Hey, Cap,
find it.
You know what's heavy about that? That last article? The last part we read, it said, the results of him seeing the slaves at the whipping post led to his defiance.
Right.
Can I get Romans 8:16 real quick? Romans 8:16. Because that's what comes to mind when reading that. All right.
Romans chapter 8, verse 16. The Spirit itself bears witness with our spirit that we are the children of God.
So it says the Spirit bears witness. So his Spirit bore witness that his people were in slavery, that his people were being mistreated. So if there's any doubt who his father is, the scripture said the Spirit will bear witness with our spirit that we are the sons of God.
All praises.
Spirit says he's the Israelite.
All praises, bro. And you know what? He couldn't stand oppression, and that's why he picked his people up on the way to freedom and didn't think of just himself like Esau would do, right? So let's read that in it's 1 Kings 9 verse. We're going to start at verse 1 and then jump to 20. The reason why Robert Smalls has a spirit like this is because when you go into the history, Israelites had a militarized mind during the time of rulership, and in slavery, we still would coordinate like that. So this is the turn of slavery. We're going to revisit the time of Solomon. Read.
The book of 1 Kings, chapter 9 and verse 1. And it came to pass, when Solomon had finished the building of the house of the Lord.
So after David was a war king. After that, Solomon had ruled during peace, and he was rich beyond belief, right? And he had people visiting from all around. He just finished building what now?
Finished the building of the house of the Lord.
The house of the Lord. So what's next? Read on.
And the king's house, and all Solomon's desires, which he was pleased to do.
Whatever he wanted to put his mind to, he built all type of orchards. He built fruit tree groves, house of the Lord, private house, everything. Now let's see what else he does. Let's jump to verse 20.
Verse 20. And all the people that were left of the Amorites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites, which were not of the children of Israel, the children that were left after them in the land, whom the children of Israel also were not able utterly to destroy, upon those that Solomon levied a tribute of bond service unto this day.
We didn't kill all of you. You gonna pay more taxes. This is the way our brother's mindset. This was a brother who did not tax the Israelites. He taxed the other nations. This is a man that loved Israel, right? Watch this. Jump to verse 26.
Verse 26.
21. I'm sorry. Yeah, do you do 21? I'm sorry, 22.
Verse 22. But of the children of Israel did Solomon make no bondmen.
I wonder why. Because when you read in the law, it tells you that of the children of thy people not make a bondman, right? So this is some heavy history. Now this is not the part I want to get to, but read on.
But they were men of war, and his servants, and his princes, and his captains, and rulers of his chariots, and his horsemen.
So the Israelites have a history of military history, both during time of war and peace. Robert Smalls comes from a great line of people. Now you might ask, why am I going here? Let's read verse 25 and 26.
Verse 25. And 3 times in a year did Solomon offer burnt offerings and peace offerings.
26, please.
Verse 26. And King Solomon made a navy of ships in Ezon-Geber.
So the Israelites had a navy. Deacon Athon did a great class some years ago. The Israelites had a navy. Did they just stay right around the coast of Galilee and these areas? Hell no. They went all over the doggone planet Earth. And our forefathers have it in them to be adventurous, to take risk and chances. That's what Robert Smalls did. Read on.
Which is beside Eloth, on the shore of the Red Sea, in the land of Edom.
Okay, so what did Hiram do? Read on.
And Hiram sent in the navy his servants, shipmen that had knowledge of the sea.
So not only did they have a navy, but there were brothers who were shipsmen who had the knowledge of the sea, meaning they knew how to navigate. And during this time in the 1862, it was similar sailing conditions. They relied on what? Not onboard motors or GPS. They relied on the wind. They relied on compass. They relied on the North Star. They relied on the constellations for navigation. We got to roll the break. All right, so look, we're getting ready to roll out to Officer McHale and Cornerstone News. When we come back, we're going to spend the rest of this show on Robert Smalls. We had two other people we were going to get into, but this brother deserves, and we're about halfway through the story. So with that, Officer McHale with Cornerstone News, take it away.
Hey, Shalom, Israel, Most High in Christ. Blessed. It's your brother, Officer Mikael, and this is your Cornerstone News. Hey, Israel, if y'all want to find out more information about Robert Smalls, make sure y'all go to IUIC Louisiana Facebook page to get all the content that we're talking about tonight. Hey, look, we got 44 days to Passover, y'all. We got 44 days to Passover. Make sure y'all get with y'all leadership in y'all local areas, and make sure you register and come have fun righteously. Also, to give to the Booster Club to continue to fund these missions. All right, y'all. One more thing I had here. Oh, yeah, that's right. How could I forget? Make sure y'all download IUIC TV if you haven't to get live content. IUIC TV is where it's at. But y'all tired of wickedness? Turn on IUIC TV. Make sure y'all like and subscribe to all the YouTube pages. Make sure you like and subscribe this YouTube page. And matter of fact, right now, while we're live, make sure you like, share this, because we want to push this content. We want to make sure the YouTube algorithm picks this video up and puts it at the forefront so we can get this information out about our brother Robert Smalls. Hey, and with that concludes the Cornerstone News.
All right, so a lot of us, there was a song when about 20 years ago, and it went a little something like this. It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine, Salt and Pepper, and the guy's name? Right, and I butchered it. The guy's name is Biggie Smalls. Yo, the hell with Biggie Smalls. I want to know about Robert Smalls. I could quote that. I'm 44 years old. I could quote Biggie Smalls for 20 years ago, and every black kid in the hood can do that. But nobody know about Robert Smalls, who stole a damn warship during the time of slavery, picked up his people, and nobody talking about that. But we big up Biggie Smalls and Tupac. We crazy, man.
Can we get Baruch 336 real quick? This backs up why this brother. Hey, we need to fix my mic. This backs up why this brother was able to do some of the things, well, all of the things that he did, and shows why our people are able to do what they do. Read that.
The book of Baruch, chapter 3, verse 36. He had found out all the way of knowledge.
The Lord found out all the way of knowledge and did what with it?
And hath given it unto Jacob his servant, and to Israel his beloved.
He gave it to Jacob. He couldn't have did that if Robert Smalls couldn't have did that if he wasn't Israel. His works speak for his spirit. You can't get nobody in captivity. If Esau would have went through the captivity that we went through, they'd have killed themselves. They would have killed themselves. But us, we persevered through everything. And how do we do it? We just lay back in the cut. Because eventually, like I like watching The Dark Knight Rises, right? For real, I do. I like that because I like Bane. Bane told Batman something that was very prominent. He said, victory has defeated you. Victory has defeated you. Why did he say that? Because Batman, he didn't train hard enough to beat somebody. He was already beating people. Same thing with Esau. Esau has subdued the entire world. Therefore, they're lackadaisical when it comes to what their Negroes do. So anytime you have somebody like Robert Smalls do something like that, it goes unnoticed at the time. And it's already too late by the time they find out.
Right. And if you think about it, right? If I were to say to today's youth, name 5 prominent black figures, you're going to get probably Michael Jordan, LeBron James, and some famous rappers. And look, and I ain't knocking these brothers because they did overcome certain things. But what this brother did is right up there with some of the greatest acts in the history of this country, and most people don't know about it. We encourage all of the future content creators, the future movie producers. Let's make a movie about Robert Smalls because he defied his enemies as a slave, okay? This is some powerful stuff. I want you to load a video. There's 2 videos. We only have about a half hour left. There are 2 videos about Robert Smalls. And there's a whole lot of information, but I wanted to find the compressed versions. Let's go to, it's where it says, the African Americans, many rivers to cross, a daring escape. It's by PBS, Public Broadcasting Station. I believe that's what it's called. Short video. I'm not sure. He might be narrating. I'm not sure about that.
I'm actually surprised PBS actually plays some of this information. That's a shocker right there.
They do because they know Negroes don't watch it.
What does that say?
Yeah,
It
that's
says,
true.
okay, that was from about 8 years ago. So relatively new information. Let's see if we can play that. I might give you an ad. So again, Robert Smalls is a Israelite hero.
Robert.
We're just gonna let it play. It's short. I might ask you to stop a couple times. We always like to stop and look at the man.
So that's him.
That's Robert Smalls.
He don't look mulatto to me.
At all.
That brother look dog.
Robert Smalls is an amazing, powerful, respectable, dignified man who loved his immediate family and motivated a whole crew of so-called slaves to take a chance of their lifetime and risk obliteration. Think about the warrior mentality he had. Listen, when they started to get weak, listen, you want to die a slave, we're going to take a chance. He could inspire people. There's no way you can lead a crew like that and not inspire them. It's impossible. Play on.
You look familiar.
Smalls was a 23-year-old slave pressed into service for the Confederacy aboard a warship called the Planter. For nearly a year, he quietly observed the movements of the ship and its crew. Just before dawn on May 13, 1862, Smalls took his chance.
Pause right there. So he was a young man, young as some of these officers of 10, these early 20s. He had been on the ship for a year, quietly observing and watching what they were doing. Now, he knew that the pattern of the white men he said, oh, I know that the next port, he had to know because he carefully, I know the next stop, I know that these devils get drunk. And then they think I'm a good old boy. They're going to leave me and 8 of us. So I'm going to wait to the next stop. And then he had to pull them aside and say, listen, when I give y'all a signal, when we get ready to roll out, y'all be ready. Y'all ready to go? There was a lot of coordination that was going on behind the scenes because these Edomites trusted them. Remember, we read that they could have got a court martial if they left the Negroes on the ship by themselves. They thought we were inferior intelligent-wise. That's why when you look at Django, when Woody Harrelson took the skull out and started, whatever the hell the devil's name is, Matthew McConaughey, whatever, they all look the same to me. And he said, this bone is that. They really believed that we were not smart. Well, this is proof that we are incredibly smart, and at a young age, too. So you brothers out there who think that this society's not for you because you might not fit in a college environment, look what a 22-year-old slave did, by the way. All right? Let's play on.
While the ship's officers slept ashore, he and his
Stop,
fellow
real quick, hold
slave
up.
crewmen.
They see how they glaze over that? No. They broke they broke the Confederate military law. And we're getting drunk and partying and breaking and abandonment of duty. That's what those bastards were doing.
They abandoned their post, which is punishable by death. They were at war.
Right.
That's
Yes.
an act of treason.
General order number 1, I will not abandon my post until I am properly relieved. You don't leave your post unmanned.
But you see how the white man will cover for, and this is a black announcer, yeah, they were just happened to be on shore. Think about this. They were breaking the general order of do not abandon your post. I remember that's what they tell you in the Marine Corps. And they were getting drunk illegally and left these slaves on the ship. So that's why I'm glad we brought that article, because Esau through his PBS, like they did nothing wrong. These devils with no discipline. Read. Play. Pardon me.
Pulled anchor and eased the planter into Charleston Harbor.
They had prearranged to meet their family members and to pick them up.
And stop real quick.
And
I'm
then,
sorry. Okay, now, I want you to picture it. There was a lady, there's a show called The Golden Girls. I always liked how the old lady Sophia would say, picture it, Sicily, right? I don't know if you remember that before, but so I want us to go back and picture 1862. If he's a slave on a Confederate ship, how can he communicate with his family if they're on other plantations? How can he communicate and coordinate a picking up of ashores? Because he was a master communicator. He knew how to send letters. He planned everything. I tell you where, it's either going to be this date, this date, this date. They was waiting on shore. He had signals waiting for him. Because you know that if this failed that night, they had to be, the next night they had to be at the next stop. All of that was through letters and communication. There was no internet, no telephone, not even a telegraph during this time. If there was, I think it was early stages. They had nothing but pens and papers and word of mouth, and he coordinated all of this.
And one thing to understand is this is fresh in slavery. So let's say I'm bringing my master to the store on horseback. He's in the carriage. I'm controlling the horse. He goes in the store. I can't go in that store. I got to wait outside. If you come up, you on the same horseback with your master go in the store, we going to sit here and talk. Hey, what plantation you from?
Right.
Oh, you over there? That's around. Hey, do you know a brother named this?
Right.
Hey, that's my little brother. You know who he is? Oh, yeah. Send him a message for me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, we did stuff like that.
And that's moving as one mind, because at that point, it wasn't about, we were just trying to one mind, let's escape. Let's get to that. And that was all, by all means, necessary. Now, brothers are killing each other for reasons that can be resolved, man. It can be resolved. You don't got to kill each other for these stupid reasons, man. All right, play on.
Come back down the peninsula, and they begin the process.
And by the way, real quick,
and this is in the wee.
Go back. Bernard Powers is not a guy that they picked up on the side of the road and said, hey, Bernard, can you come and tell us the Negro point of view? Bernard, if you read about it, he's a historian who specialized in Civil War history. So this ain't no dumb Negro. This is a very smart man that's read all about it, which you don't have to take that because he took the time. He's given about Robert Smalls. I'm glad that it's a black man that's saying this. Read on, play on.
Hours of the morning of sailing out of the harbor. They are embarked now on an extremely dangerous journey.
Smalls knew these waters like the back of his hand, but he also knew the risks that lay ahead. 4 Confederate checkpoints.
Let's stop
Castle
real quick.
Pinckney.
Earlier in the article, we read about 4 checkpoints, and we're going to find out is the last checkpoint was Fort Sumter, which were the first shots fired of the Civil War, right? So once you got past Fort Sumter, you could get basically into the ocean, which would put you into a zone where you could get around the Union. And again, this goes back to him daunting and showing his gait as the captain, meaning the way he carried himself, his walk. All that time as a 22-year-old slave, he tracked everything, how the captain moved, just like you were saying earlier, almost exactly. And this is, now how do you get the spirit to do that? And then when it's time to actually now go through with it, you got 7 other people, or actually 8 together, counting him. You have to convince them to be of the same mind. If they get caught, they're all going to die. And then you coordinate to pick up your family along the way, along the coast. What do you think is going to happen to them if they get picked up? You're putting everybody at risk, but you have them all believing that we're going to get this. Don't worry about it. And they all look for him for strength. They all look for Robert Smalls for strength.
Yeah, because he's coming on a boat. It ain't like he coming in a car. So wherever they are waiting for the boat to pull up, they have to sit there and wait. And they're ducking soldiers that are on foot patrol. They're ducking soldiers on guard duty. They have to make sure that their tracks aren't seen. They have to make sure that they're hiding themselves well. They had children with them. They had to make sure that the kids were silent.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Mommy, I got to use the bathroom, stomach upset and all of that. Anything could have happened.
All right, play on. I thought Mikael was about to say something.
Fort Ripley, Fort Johnson, and Fort Sumter. Isn't Smalls afraid of being caught? How in the world is a black slave going to pull this off?
He's extremely afraid of being caught. He disguises himself as the captain and also mimics the captain's gait as he walked back and forth across the wheelhouse.
Sirach, give me,
Smalls
pause it. Give me
past-
Sirach, because the scriptures speak about now, sometimes, and by the way, when we read the first thing about a fugitive slave, there's no such thing as a fugitive slave. It's you were stolen property and you're trying to free yourself from oppression. You're not a fugitive. A fugitive is running from justice. He's running to justice. And it said something about his gait. Because one thing that Jake can do, we can study. We can study and figure out, okay, I got to do this to get this. There's always saying, get in where you fit in. The only reason why we'd ever do that is because we're trying to just survive. He had to do what he had to do. So read that real quick off some mic.
The book of Sirach, chapter 19, verse 29. A man may be known by his look.
So a captain of a warship has a certain look, right? Even if it's during broad daylight or if it's during the dusk or dawn, there's a look that he has and there's a persona that he gives off. Read on.
And one that hath understanding by his countenance.
So the countenance of a man is going to be picked up by other military men at checkpoints. Now I don't look like, that ain't no damn captain. No. Yeah. All right, yeah, good. I'm going to signal you back. Read on.
When thou meetest him, a man's attire and excessive laughter and gait show what he is.
So in this particular situation, this scripture we use often for other things, the gait of a man is going to show what he, so he had to master what the gait of the captain. I can guarantee you that the captain of that ship wasn't no damn 22 years old. He probably was at least 40, probably 50 years old. Here's a 22-year-old black young man is able to impersonate a white sea captain and get away with it. That's a master. That's a master. And he was scared as hell the whole time. Master.
That's why Jake is always the best actors.
Yes.
He walked like a 40-year-old middle-aged white man, sea captain. That's how he got past. He walked like him and stood like him. That's amazing.
Let's play on.
The first 3 checkpoints undetected. The most dangerous checkpoint remained, Fort Sumter, with its mighty guns and fearsome cannons. Discovery would mean certain death. As dawn broke, the crew urged Smalls to take a wide berth.
Now
But
pause.
changing course-
So they got the spirit of fear in them. Nah, bro. yo, Smalls, yo, run it wide. Maybe we get a chance. He's like, no. If we run it wide and we don't step to them like a regular captain, we going to get shot down. Give me where it says definition of valor. This is when you find out what you're made. I don't know if, listen, we all might say, man, I'm going to do the same thing, but you might not do this thing. You might get scared and get maybe we go wide. We'll take a chance. We'll take our chance of getting long-range rounds. So this is what Robert Smalls has in his spirit. Read.
Valor, strength of mind or spirit that enables a person to encounter, let's scroll up, danger with firmness, personal bravery.
When the other 7 said, yo, swing it right, Rob. If you don't swing it right, we're going to die. And he's like, listen, you trusted me this far, right? Shut the hell up. We going right at him. I got through first 3 checkpoints. Shut your damn mouth. I got this, brothers. You see me stop. We picked up our brothers and sisters, right? We got through here. We going to make it all the way home. I'm telling you, bro. This encourages the hell out of me right here. Read on. Play on.
Could arouse suspicion. Smalls gave the signal. A few seconds later, the counter signal came back. Pass on by. So they're safe, right? They're free?
Well, they're not completely free. Because now we have the situation where a Confederate flagged vessel is sailing out and it begins to approach the vessels of the Union naval blockading force.
Fortunately, the vessel was not fired on. As astonished Union officers boarded the planter, Smalls stood at attention, saluted, and spoke.
I am delivering this war material, including these cannons, and I think Uncle Abraham Lincoln can put them to good use.
So again, real quick, now what does he do? And by the way, when you read the article, his wife made him, or a woman he knew, made him a giant white, and he actually raised the white flag. And that's the reason why they didn't shoot it. They did, the good white men just didn't. No, he put down the Confederate flag. He raised the white flag. That's what, before we shoot. So then he used intelligence, another military strategy once he got past Fort Sumter. Now, what's amazing is now he switches back to dance mode. Hey, boss, man, I brought Uncle Abe his ship. He used you. He don't care. Because once he gets his freedom, he went into political office, and he's fought against you devils on the north as well.
He gave him a gift.
Ecclesiastes 7:7.
Yep. He gave him a gift. As soon as he crossed over into that line, he said, hey, I got a gift for you. Yeah, we some Negroes, but guess what? I got a warship for you. I got some guns. I got some ammo.
Hell yeah.
I got a howitzer on here. I got all kind of stuff. And they looked at it. Well, come on over here, buddy. Good to see you.
Right.
You know he wasn't being oppressed.
And he became a war hero as a result of that. But if we can real quick, if we can find Robert Smalls later on in life, or political figure, we could type that in. While you do that, let's go ahead and look at another. Yes, here it goes. Let's go to the next YouTube video. Slave who sailed himself to freedom. Because this is going to kind of tell us a little bit about, he had an agenda. It was to become a free man, deliver his family. He used what he had to do to get there. Then at the time, he put effort into the one thing he thought he could change America. That's the political office. We know that it was unfounded, but he was fighting in the political office for his people. You got something? All right, so let's this is short. Let's play this first. It's only 2 minutes and 18 seconds. So when somebody says to you, yeah, man, Biggie Smalls, you stop them in their tracks. Say, Biggie who? Oh, you mean Robert Smalls, right? You talking about the rapper from Brooklyn who used to sell drugs? You talking about him? And not that I'm condemning Biggie Smalls. Oh, you talking about Robert Smalls, the brother that saved his family, that went through 4 checkpoints, that stole a naval destroyer from the Confederate and went his way to freedom. Oh, you talking about that one? That's what we need to. We need to bring honor to a brother like this. Play.
Robert Smalls was a hero of both the Civil War and of Reconstruction. In 1874, he was elected to the United States House of Representatives from the state of South Carolina.
That's all I need is right here, real quick. So remember, he was a slave at 22. He stole a warship. He was able to sail his way through 4 checkpoints, and that was in 1862. By the time the 1870s came around, he now became, what he said, senator?
Made it to the House of Representatives.
Made it to the House of Representatives, which is a federal office. Just so we're clear.
Yeah, the House is the ones that's voting on your stimulus check right now.
He was up there.
He was up there. He was in that arena.
So this brother could have got killed on multiple occasions, escaped, and then made it to. So when Jake get out of jail and say, I can't find, no, brother, you can find a job. This brother managed to find a ship and sail him and his family up out of there. You can find a job.
Hey, I was talking to somebody earlier about that. Look, when you want a way out of your situation, you gonna make a way. You gonna find a way. Whether you gotta push it to the limits or whatever you gotta do, you gonna find a way to make sure that you and your family are provided for.
That's right.
That's a manning right there.
Wait, play on, please.
Just 12 years before, he staged one of the boldest and most imaginative escapes in the history of slavery. Its daring and its timing.
You know, it says
unbelievable.
This is saying it's one of the most daring in the history of slavery. So how come it's not being taught mainstream? It goes back to the point of Officer Mikael, because now the brothers who wear the shirts that says Black Kings will know that they come from heroes. They come from great men who do great, noble, daring, heroic acts like this, multiple acts, and coordinated and planned to save Black people and was successful. That's why they don't want Robert Smalls, but they'll put Biggie Smalls all over, who celebrated selling drugs. And I understand his situation was difficult. Celebrated selling drugs and disrespecting other brothers because he got more shine. Here's a brother that the shine he got was from bringing his people with him. And this is why, this is it's marinating this guy, marinating this brother. Play on.
Robert Smalls was a 23-year-old slave pressed into service for the Confederacy aboard a ship called the Planter. For nearly a year, Smalls quietly observed the movements of the ship and its crew.
Look at the size of that damn gun. That's a gun, right? Look how long that doggone thing is. You know, and this is what goes to show you that why don't we know the name of these white officers who failed their duty? Why aren't they in the Confederate brig? I know because Confederate lost the war, but why aren't they being portrayed as who's the guy that sold out? Who's the guy in American history that they?
Darth Perry.
No, I'm talking about the white man that is Benedict Arnold, right? Why aren't these guys being put in the same light as Benedict Arnold as treason and sellouts? Because they're just they just stayed on shore and visited family. No, not at all. Play on.
Crew. Just before dawn on May 13th, 1862, Smalls took his chance.
Now, I want to say one other thing.
Ship's office.
While this was going on and he picked up his people, this is mid-May in South Carolina. As he's coordinating to pick up the points and they're at night, like to your point, at night, they were dealing with snakes. They were dealing in South Carolina in the middle of the night. In May, it's hot. Okay, all of these things that he had to coordinate, and the brothers, sisters, and children they picked up, they were slaves on the loose, waiting at checkpoints to be picked up by a warship. Man, I'm telling Make a movie about Robert Smalls. Somebody needs to make a movie. Play on.
Slept ashore. Smalls and his fellow enslaved crew members pulled up anchor and eased the planter into Charleston Harbor.
The plan was that he and the other enslaved members would meet their family members and take off and sail to Union territory. He knew that there would be danger ahead because he had to pass through 4 Confederate checkpoints. He dressed up like the captain. He even walked like the captain so that it looked like nothing was wrong.
Smalls slipped past the first 3 checkpoints undetected. The most dangerous checkpoint remained, Fort Sumter. As dawn broke, the crew urged Smalls to take a wide berth, but Smalls knew that changing course could arouse suspicion. Smalls gave the signal. A few seconds later, the signal came back. Pass on by. As the ship approached Union territory, Smalls replaced the palmetto and rebel flags with a white bedsheet that his wife had brought on board, narrowly
Pause real
avoiding
quick.
cannon.
So another thing is, and I'm glad that he clarified that because I wasn't sure. So he's a 23 or 22-year-old black man who had the sense to marry his woman and make his wife. She, when you read it about Titus 2, when the sister took up women work in Tobit, she knew that she had to support her man on the mission of war. So she made something, how can I help my husband? He probably didn't think of that. She was like, well, you know what? Women think of these things. Well, you know what? You know what, sweetheart, when you get there, you know what? I can make you a flag. This is what Israelite women do. And she probably stopped his ass from getting sunk. That was a woman thinking about her man as her Lord and how she could be a helpmate to her husband.
It goes to show you how deeply planned this was.
Right.
Because to grab the bed sheet, you have to grab that as you're leaving the master's property.
Mm.
That's the end result, is for you to raise the white flag so nobody shoots you down. That's the first thing that they carried out. So that goes to show you how well planned out this really was.
And it shows you how instructed her mind was also.
Right.
She wasn't arguing with him. She's like, okay, this is survival.
It's absolutely amazing. This is y'all got a chance. Y'all check this out. We're giving you a very abbreviated version in an hour or so. Play on. It's hot in here, man. Turn this on.
Smalls, his family, and the entire crew of the planter were now free.
So this brother, Robert Smalls, freed the whole crew, which were brothers, and also his family. It doesn't say how many family members that he actually rescued, but all in all, I believe there were close to 20 slaves that he brought to freedom. And then he became a prominent political figure later on in life. If we can, did you say you had something for? I think we got time for a couple of more articles before Kingdom Music comes on. First and 4, excellent. By the way, we had 2 other excellent success stories, but this, again, deserves a whole show.
Biography. An escaped slave and a Civil War hero, Robert Smalls served 5 terms in the U.S. House representing a South Carolina district described as a black paradise because of its abundant political opportunities for freed men.
Now, I wonder how they got a lot of these political opportunities for black men, because Robert Smalls, the same way he fought to save his immediate family and his crew member, what the hell you think he was doing? He was raising hell in that political office. And he made a way for other brothers that came up, and he served 5 terms. 5 terms in the U.S. House of Representatives, which is a elite office, like Officer Matthew, the Senate and the House. Other than the president, you don't get any higher than that in the world of the political arena. Read on.
Overcoming the state Democratic Party's repeated attempts to remove that blemish from its goal of white supremacy.
Right.
Smalls endured violent elections and a short jail term to achieve internal improvements for coastal South Carolina and to fight for his black constituents in the face of growing disfranchisement.
Read that last part again, where it says he endured. Smalls endured.
Smalls endured violent elections and a short jail term.
Stop. You think he gave a damn about a little violence and a little bit of jail time? The man risked his life and everybody else and stole a friggin' warship and got through 4 checkpoints, and did it all while his white crew members, so-called, he duped them into earning their trust. You just don't leave people you don't trust. They trusted Robert Smalls. This guy was a mastermind, bro. Mastermind. Okay, 5 minutes. Read on.
Term to achieve internal improvements for coastal South Carolina and to fight for his black constituents in the face of growing disenfranchisement.
During this time, we did another show. There was more black people, more Israelites in political office, both at the federal, state, and local level than any time in history during this time. The Reconstruction from about, was it 1865, I think, all the way to 1890, around that time frame. Read on.
My race needs no special defense for the past history of them in this country proves them to be equal or any people anywhere.
Right, and not only is he equal, he's better than all of them. What person could have done what he have done and still stood up and kept his nerve the whole time? It's just and that's why I'm so proud of this brother. Lord willing, the most I'll put him back before it's time and he can wake up in his truth. We're all very proud of this brother, man, and he needs to have a movie made about him. Make a movie about a damn rapper, make a movie about a damn basketball player, but you don't make a movie about this brother? You're out of your mind. Play on.
Smalls asserted, all they need is a equal chance in the battle of life.
And he didn't get no damn equal chance. He took his chance, and he made an opportunity for himself.
That's why they won't talk about it.
Exactly.
Right.
That's why they won't bring him up in school, because he said something that's profound. All we need is an equal opportunity, and just let us do the rest. But every time we get degrees, they make the degrees less than what they are. We get jobs, they lower the pay. We get experience, they change up the entire job field.
So you're overqualified.
You know what I'm saying? Then you're overqualified. Yep. Like they move the line wherever we reach the finish line. They move the goalpost. They move it.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. You want to say something, Miguel? You about to say something?
No, no, I was just agreeing with what Officer Matthew was bringing out about what type of mindset he had to have. This is a revolutionary mindset to not want to be shackled down and oppressed. To know that you are a king and a leader, not somebody's servant.
All praises. We almost done. Let's read on. You said jump to 4?
That's it right there.
Okay, let's go ahead.
Smalls' public career began during the war. He joined free black delegates to the 1864 Republican National Convention.
Yo, 2 years after, right within, as soon as he got free to the North, he immediately started to say, how can I make change? He got down with the Republican National Convention, and he was, I think, I could be wrong, I think he was only 25 at the time. Because if he was 22 and 62, he's a young man who was going and fighting oppression at the political level. Read on.
The first of 7 total conventions he attended as a delegate. While awaiting repairs to the planter, Smalls was removed from an all-white streetcar in Philadelphia on December 30th, 1864.
So wait a minute. If the streetcar was all white, what was he doing on the streetcar? I'm going to tell you what he's doing. Yo, these devils think I'm not walking. I'm getting on the damn car. Just like I stole the damn warship and things. You're going to have to throw me off this. I'm a man too, you damn devils. You're going to let me ride. And they had to force it because he believed that he was equal or better than them. He did not bow down. I'm a man like you. Let me ride in this friggin' car.
So, Cap, this
What?
was before Rosa Parks, correct?
Way before.
Yes,
100
yes.
years
I
before.
just want to make sure I'm not crazy.
Hey, read the next.
Okay.
Read the next verse. Not verse, but
In the
sentence.
following, okay, gotcha. In the following months, his celebrity allowed him to lead one of the first mass boycotts of segregated public transportation. A city
Oh.
law finally permitted integrated streetcars in
Oh.
1867.
Hey,
Hold on,
hey,
hold
hold
on, wait a
on.
minute. Damn.
So he was MLK before MLK.
So he'll get his ass whooped way before them, huh? Oh, okay. All right.
but
Yeah, brother.
for Black History Month, you learn about Martin Luther King. This was 1867. 2 years after you got freed, so-called, and this man was leading boycotts and making change.
But also, but the thing is, that's like what Stokely Carmichael, the young Fred Hampton, young men like that. They don't want us knowing about young men like that. You tell this young man's like, man, hell with that. I stole a ship and I'm sitting in your car. I'm not walking.
Yo, bruh.
Cap,
He was 27 years old. He stood up in the face. This is 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation, 100 years before, roughly 90 years before the modern day civil rights movement, before the water hoses. I'm not diminishing what happened in the 60s, 1960s. But what about the 18? He got a law passed that niggers can ride. The black man, that's what white people say. Now niggers can ride on a streetcar because he got his ass whooped and got thrown off one because he said, I'm a man. What do you mean I got to walk? I'm a man. Here's my money. I'm going to be on a freaking streetcar. 3 years later, 2 years after emancipation, he got laws changed. And you're absolutely right. That's why they're not going to tell about a brother like this, because this brother is just can change. He could change the minds of young black men.
You know what?
His boycott was successful
Successful.
because they didn't boycott black stuff while boycotting white stuff.
Exactly.
He boycotted white stuff and made black stuff.
Hey,
You know what I'm saying?
You got to think about this. He's in his mid-20s. There, great movie that just came out recently, Judas and the Black Messiah, talking about Fred Hampton and how revolutionary he was at a young age. You got to think about how much more impactful this was in 1867, 100 years before Fred Hampton, 2 years after slavery, that he had this kind of mindset. And that's why they don't teach about Robert Small.
You got a picture, right? During this time that this happened, there was black people on one side of the street. Well, actually, hold up. During this time, it was still slavery. So you had, now, obviously, it was in the North. Because he was a war hero, perhaps he wasn't a slave. Maybe he bought his freedom, whatever the case may be. So you had other black people seeing, what are they saying? Oh, he about to die. Oh, don't do it, man. Don't freaking do it. And he gave hope because he wasn't afraid. He showed them, I'm not afraid. Why? Because the same value he had when he stole the war chip, tricked the white officers. Yeah, I'm your boy. I'm a good nigga. Leave me alone. I'm good. Tricked their ass, stole the warship, got by it. And listen, this is amazing. Amazing. I did not know. I don't think any of us really understood how powerful this brother was. I did not know this part.
Can we just read that first sentence, Cap?
Yes.
At the war's conclusion, Small received a commission as Brigadier General of the South Carolina Militia.
Damn. So what, a 1-star, 2-star?
3, right?
A Brigadier
I don't know.
General.
Yeah, Brigadier General is a 3-star general.
Wow. Yes, let's keep reading.
He then purchased his former owner's house in Beaufort, but he was generous to the economically devastated McKees.
So McKees are another white family. So he came in, bought his master's house, and said, I feel sorry for you.
And then toss a dog a bone.
Here's a little bit of money. Yo, this brother's bad, man.
And that's, Cap, that's what Esau fears. They feared the
Oh, my
Negroes
Lord.
that they had in slavery.
Yes.
Tossing them bones now.
Bruh, hey, you know what? Listen, next week, if we can find maybe we might continue on with, and this is the thing. The reason why we're inspired to do this is because of so-called Black History Month. Officer Matt and I were talking in the car. We're going to start regularly highlighting black heroes during slavery, because there's many, many other great men. Now, yes, did they know they were Israelites? Probably not. But yet, it's still a great inspiration for overcoming oppression and slavery. So we are past the time. All praise to the Most High. I pray that we inspired some of you to learn more about this brother. And I pray that anybody that knows content creators or movie script writers, y'all, we need to make a movie about, if they can make a movie about these other black celebrities, this guy needs to have a movie made about. I'm going to tell you right now. So with that, we're going to close out. We got Kingdom music on deck. Officer Matt, take it away.
Hey, shalom, Most High in Christ bless Israel. Most High in Christ bless. Oh yeah, Brigadier General, 1-star general, 1-star, 1-star. So, Kingdom music. Look, y'all. We got some hot music out. All right. Hey, let the people see the website. Let the people see the website. You gotta go on originalroyaltyrecordings.com. Jeremiah album has been on fire for this like entire time that it was released. All right, it's just now hit Apple and Spotify and all of that stuff. But don't just get both. Buy it from Original Royalty and listen to it on Apple Music or whatever you want to listen to it on. Scroll up, you got to get Jeremiah. Here is the patience. You got to also get A Real Mercy. All right, if y'all like that old school Southern swang. That old, I'm talking about before 8 Ball and MJG type, bring it back to the 90s, early 90s, this is the one for you. Scroll down. Same thing with Moses. I Am Job. He got that, it's just Southern. The South got something to say. The South got something to say. Job, the I Am Job album. Scroll. Don't forget about the Patient Saints Volume 2 album. That thing is fire. That thing is fire. For y'all going to Passover, man, look, just know they got some Original Royalty events. It's going to be happening out there. All right? So make sure if y'all going to Passover, make sure that y'all in there. It's going to be, once again, capital LIT. All right. So that does it for Kingdom Music. Go on originalroyaltyrecordings.com. Get all the latest music from Israel. Shalom.
All praise to the Most High. Well, thank you for tuning in precept upon precept. We hope that you got some edification out of our brother Robert Smalls. Next time somebody says to you it's all about Biggie Smalls, you say, who? Oh, you mean Robert Smalls. And tell them about your brother. Tell them about this mighty, heroic man named Robert Smalls. So with that, I'm your host, Captain Shem. To my left.
Officer Matthew.
To the far left.
Officer Mikael.
To the right.
Officer Micah.
So with that, we're going to ready to close out. And I believe we have some Officer Mikael, forgive me.
Hey, look, Israel. Hey, Cap, we understand you're excited about Robert Smalls. Hey, that brother powerful. But look, if y'all want to continue to get great information like this, give alms. This radio show has to, we got to pay money to keep the lights on, to put this show out to you. Got to keep the sanctuary open. Make sure y'all like and subscribe. Also, give donations. You can give donations via PayPal at iuic.neworleans@israelunite.org. That's the same place y'all can give alms to for this school, for this radio show. Again, the bishop and the leaders are doing great works, and we need your support. So y'all can give to the Booster Club by donating at iuic.fundraising@israelunite.org. So make sure y'all give alms, all right?
Israel United in Christ. We are not a hate group. We are not affiliated with any other Israelite group. Israel United in Christ is a nonviolent Bible-based movement. We do not advocate or condone any acts of violence against any race, ethnicity, or gender. We advise that if anyone hears or knows of any plots to cause harm to anyone or to break the laws of the land, you must contact the proper authorities to bring awareness to any possible threat, as stated in Leviticus chapter 5, verse 1.
And that concludes another show of Precept Upon Precept. I'm your host, Captain Shem.
Officer Matthew.
Officer Mikael.
Officer Micah.
And with that, we say
Shalom.